Greetings, traders. Zach here from the Trading Network. I hope you guys are doing well and that you had a nice weekend. It is Sunday, October 2nd, and I've got another weekly market profile forecast for you for both the ES and NQ futures markets. Now, we are going to start off with the NQ session profile, then move into the weekly on NQ, and we will then visit the ES session profile and the weekly profile for ES as well. What I want to discuss first and foremost is that we are operating at levels that we have not visited since October of 2020, so 2 years ago. And this is going to be a very interesting week to see if we do indeed get that downside continuation to continue to visit levels that we haven't visited in years, quite literally, or if we get either a relief rally or put in some sort of low this week. Now, we do not have anything close to a low on a macro time frame. Of course, we would need to put in a weekly candle that closes above the top of the prior week, and currently that means that we would have to close a weekly candle above 11,600 roughly. So without getting off on a tangent as far as the macro time frame candle charts, let's discuss some most immediate line in the sand levels or areas of interest moving forward into the beginning of the week, and then we will dig into some more macro stuff a little bit later in the video. First and foremost, I want to point out that we are operating below Friday's low. Friday's low is 11,024. Current overnight high is 11,050. So first and foremost, I'm going to be looking for acceptance back into last week's range. Now, that is going to be exceptionally clear, above 11,024. And if we can move and hold above 1124, then I'll be looking for a test of 1191 and then back into value from Friday, which is at 11,121. So if we can get back into value from Friday, get back into value from last week, then of course I will be looking at some of these higher levels. Value area from Thursday is actually inside of Friday's value area. So it's going to be interesting to see if we get back into this overlapping value from Thursday and Friday. And then you can see that we have actually some overlapping value from the prior days earlier last week as well. So those will be the levels that I'm looking at to the upside. And to the downside, it's really going to be looking at some more macro levels from 2020, October 2020, September 2020, and even June, July, if we do, continue to get some downside pressure and see pushes below the current overnight low at 10,890, which would lead me to be looking at a level right around 10,737. And I'll pop over to the main candlestick chart so you guys can check this out as well very briefly. All right, so just quickly moving over here to the weekly chart to show you guys this little zone that I'm paying attention to, basically between 10,450 and 10.7K. So not so little, but it's going to be an area of interest if we do proceed to move down below this overnight low that we currently have. And if we proceed to go lower, then that is going to be a major line in the sand level moving forward into the beginning of the week. So on the upside, once again, Friday's low is going to be important, and then we have the current overnight high at 11,050, 1191, and then I would be looking for a move back into value if we can get acceptance above these three levels here. Now, again, if we do not get acceptance above those levels, then keep an eye out, first and foremost, for a move to right around 10.7K or 10,680, I think is going to be a major area of interest if we do proceed lower. So going back to the profile here, we can move on over to the weekly. But as you guys know, there's really not a ton of levels down here unless we go back 2 years, okay? So you guys can see that, I pointed that out on the regular chart here. This area right here, 10,450 to about 10,700. And then, if we do proceed to go lower, I would be looking really for a move right around 10,000, which is the 377 exponential moving average on the weekly chart. But we got quite a ways to go before we get there. So on the upside from a weekly perspective, it's pretty similar to session, but I want to point out that last week's value is basically between 11,124 and 11,414. So if we can get back into last week's range, starting with the low of last week at 1124, then I will be looking for on a more macro scale or on a larger scale moving forward in the week or at the end of the week, towards the end of the week rather, I will be looking for So moving into the ES session profile, you guys should be able to see that it is a very similar structure indeed. We have the overnight high currently at 36.1350, right below Friday's value area low at 16.50. You can see that we have Friday's low at 35.95 and a quarter, and we have the current overnight point of control at 35.9925 as well. So this is going to be a major area. You can consider this a little zone here, 4 or 5 point zone between Friday's low, current overnight POC. If we break Friday's low once again, which we are operating above currently, I would be looking for a retest of this overnight low or some operation, perhaps filling in this low volume node right here in the overnight, and we will see where we end up in the morning, which is where we will write our trade plan and release it on Facebook and, of course, in our private Discord a little bit before the open. So on a session profile perspective, just to reiterate here, a major line in the sand level moving forward into tomorrow's regular trading hour session is going to be this 35.95 level. If we can hold above this, likely going to get a test in tomorrow's regular trading hour session if we're not already above it, of this 36.13 level, and then very likely back into value if we can get accepted above the overnight high there. So what I will be looking at on the upside, if we can get back into value, of course, we have Thursday's low, 36.22. We've got the value area low from Thursday at 36.3075. And then we have the overnight low from Thursday into Friday at 36.40, which is a little bit below, about 15 points below Friday's POC. So above Friday's POC, that definitely opens up some high probability moves to the value area high, 36.6650, and then of course Friday's high we have at 36.84. But as I always say, we've got a long way to go and we got to take it one level at a time. So keep an eye on this area most immediately, moving through the overnight session tonight and into tomorrow's regular trading hour session. It's going to be a very interesting week. You guys can see very, very similar situation here on the weekly profile. Getting back into value from last week is going to be something that is really most important to me from an upside perspective. Back into value from last week really opens up test of 36.60. We were just looking at 36.66, which is the value area high from Friday. So some good confluence in that area. And we also have the POC from last week's session at 36.65 and a quarter as well. So again, just like we did on the session profile, you could draw a little zone between 36.60 and 36.65, and that's going to be a very important area to the upside. If we can get acceptance above that level, then we're very likely to move into 3,700 for a test. And of course, we've got some naked POCs on the upside way up there as well. We've got a few gaps as well. So we've got a lot of levels on the upside that are important, but really on the downside, it's going to be exceptionally important to keep an eye. I'm going to pull up the weekly chart on ES as well, just so you guys can take a peek. Give me 1 second here. And there we go. Okay, so first level to the downside, 35.36. If I just pop on over here, you can see that the overnight low is 35.71.75. So if we break 35.71.75 either tonight in the overnight session or tomorrow in the regular trading hour session on Monday, I will be indeed looking for a test of this 35.35 level. And you can see here that we could really do something similar and draw a little zone between 35.30-ish and really that overnight low at 35.70 or so, something like this, right? So if we do get further downside, I'd be looking for a move right around this area. You can see possible support resistance flip area, possible area of liquidity if we do get that downside continuation. So moving on into, or just to reiterate rather, the weekly levels on ES. Most importantly, going to be looking for a move above or back into value from last week. 36.25.25 is the value area low from last week's weekly profile. And if we can hold above that, look for a move to 36.60, 36.65, and acceptance above that will very likely get us a test of the value area high. Same deal on NQ here, except NQ is looking even more bearish currently. And by that, I mean that we are operating entirely below last week's session. And if I pop over here on ES, you can see that we are right at last week's low. So perhaps ES is leading a little bit on, a little bit of upside pressure, or The flip side, NQ is leading for downside pressure. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of continuation we do get, because we had a little sell-off thus far in the current overnight session. So I will try to keep this video short. I will end it here. So as always, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them down below in the comments. If you would like to learn more about what we do on a daily basis in the Trading Network, please check out thetradingnetwork.io, where you can purchase access to our private Discord, where we live stream daily our trading starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, mainly trading ES and NQ futures, as we always discuss in our weekly forecasts. And we are directly discussing setups, technical analysis, and market profile structure as we trade. It is a two-way live stream, so paying members in the Discord can come in, turn their microphones on, and chat with myself and Alex while we trade live, talking about setups, trading psychology, and the like. If you guys are interested in purchasing the TTN proprietary indicator package or access to the fundamentals of futures trading, you can also find that on our website, as well as the TTN Pro Trader bundle, which includes all three of those products for a slightly lower fee. And we also offer a payment plan as well to make it a bit easier on the wallet. Of course, if you guys are interested in one-on-one mentorship, you can find more info on the website about mentorship as well. And if you have any questions about any of those products, you can also email info@thetradingnetwork.io, and we will be in touch ASAP. Thank you guys, as always, for taking the time to watch this content. I appreciate you very much, and I will see you in the next video.